Hi, my name is Deborah. I am a transformational healer and coach, and today we're going to talk about being in love with someone who doesn't choose you. Does this sound familiar? Is this something that you're going through? Can you relate to this? I want to talk about 5 points of what happens when you are involved with someone like this and how to heal from it and to move through it and get to the other side. So many of the clients that I work with are out of those kind of dynamics. I too have gone through my experience with someone who I was in love with who did not choose me. And it's very painful to go through. And there are several things that happen when you are involved with someone like that. And there's a lot of subconscious tendencies that are running the show. And it's usually from childhood. I know in my experience, I had childhood wounds and I chose someone who I felt like was the love of my life. And it was very familiar. This person was very familiar. And so it felt like home. But was I being chosen? No. Was I in a healthy relationship? No, but I will get to that. So I want to talk about the 5 things that happen when you are involved with someone who doesn't choose you. So the first one is that you live in potential. You are seeing their potential. And most people that are in relationships like this, including myself, we see the good in people because that's, in a way, our survival mechanism. A lot of clients that I work with have been through childhoods similar to mine. So I can very much relate to maybe having one or both parents that were not emotionally available and then growing up and choosing those kind of partners. So you're living in the land of potential rather than who they really are. You're not really listening to who they are and what they're saying and what they're giving you. In my case, when I look back at all my relationships, I clearly can say that that they told me right in the beginning who they were, what they wanted, what was going on in their lives, and I didn't listen because I went into the land of fantasy and potential. And I had the movie script in my mind of how I wanted things to be, and so I lived in that. And in a way, it was like a survival mechanism. So, number 2 is normalizing inconsistency. So, again, and I think I'm going to say this a lot in this video, is it's a survival mechanism. When you end a relationship like this, or you maybe get discarded by someone like this, or you have to walk away from it, it feels like life and death. And to someone who has not gone through that kind of trauma, cannot relate to it at all. But I've gone through that, and I coach people and have sessions with people that have gone through that and feel that way. And it doesn't make sense, but yet it does, because it's holding on for dear life to this love that you are desperately wanting from another human being that maybe you didn't get your needs met as a child. And so you are trying to get it from this person, and you're willing to sacrifice so many things to get that love. And it's very human, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's just you're being very human. And so it's, you have this death grip on this person. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, then you can start to heal. So I just want to say that when you normalize inconsistency, that's where more healing can happen. And I'll get to that. So the third thing is slowly losing your, where you're hanging on breadcrumbs, you're waiting on text, you're suddenly overcompensating for their lack of consistency. So what should be normal in give and take and communication and everything becomes abnormal, and you're holding on to those breadcrumbs. So you're losing yourself through that. Number 4 is overgiving. I found myself doing that. I was overgiving, trying to understand him, trying to be on his level, trying to do things he likes to do, doing all these things, trying to get his approval, right? Which is part of in my coaching sessions, the releasing, where it's we're always wanting control, approval, security. So approval is wanting love. And so I was always like, what can I do? Always working on myself. It was in disguise of I work on myself and I can be this for you, basically. So you overgive. And then the fifth thing is questioning your worth. Then you start to spiral and you're comparing yourself. In my case, I was not the only one. There, I was replaceable. Believe it or not, it's embarrassing to say that, but I was replaceable and I was still, this is a slang thing, but just pimping myself out, thinking you're the one for me and I'm going to make it work. Almost, I was really going for it. And there were other women in my case. So I was one of supply. And maybe I was like, I don't know, maybe the better supply, maybe not. I don't know, but I saw it later on. But basically, you start to question your worth, and you start comparing yourself to other women and other couples, and it's just crazy stuff. So these five things is what happens. And so how do you get out of it? How do you get out of it? Well, sometimes we're ripped away from it because we are discarded, or we are, and I don't want to sound like a victim, but we basically, or we completely walk away, which is the best thing ever, is to completely walk away from that dynamic, because you take your power back. And the way out of this is to choose you. And when I do sessions with people who are freshly out of something like this, whether they walked away or the person that they were with walked away, whatever it was, when I say choose you, they just look at me like I have three heads. And because you've lost yourself to a point where you are, that's not comforting to say choose you, because in our mind, with all the trauma that we've had, we think that's being alone. Oh my God, I'm going to be alone. And we desperately hold on to these relationships because we felt so alone with these people that we were with growing up, that were not meeting our needs emotionally. We were not building our self-esteem, not building our self-worth. And so when we find someone that we have a chemistry with, that we love, that we have this connection, or so we think, we hold on for dear life. We hold on. And when we have to let that go, it feels like life or death. And I know because I went through it, and I can say that I don't want to say I was suicidal. Basically, I didn't have the guts to do it, but I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore with the loss of that relationship, which is so, it's like, I don't judge myself for it. I used to, I don't do it anymore, because when I finally saw that I was holding on for dear life to a concept, then I saw that, oh, wow. You were just wanting love. I was very compassionate to myself. I was like, wow. Because I used to say, well, why did I hang on so long? And it was because I couldn't bear the thought that it could fail and that I would possibly be alone the rest of my life. All those thoughts, right? All those limiting thoughts. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm whatever. I was just repeating. This relationship actually brought up everything I needed to release, all my wounds, all my deepest wounds. So once I let go, I had to face all of those deep wounds. And it was like the dark night of the soul. It was very painful. I wanted to leave the earth. I was like, I don't want to be here. But that was my biggest transformation. And sometimes, well, a lot of times, those relationships are what brings you to your knees and brings you to yourself. It brings you to yourself. And what is yourself? The universe. Yes, you have your body mind. Yes, you play this character, and you don't want to discount that. That's your ego, that you need it for the world, but it brings you to the divine. Those kind of relationships can bring you to the divine. So incredible. And so, in a weird way, that person that I was with actually did me a favor. So by treating me this way, doing all these things, but it's not even, again, I'm not a victim, and I never advocate for being a victim. whatever we think and feel and project is exactly what we're going to experience. So as long as we continue to be in a relationship, like that's what we're going to keep experiencing: breadcrumbing, lack of consistency, lack of self-worth. It's just going to keep going in what we're thinking about ourselves. So we're going to choose somebody like that until we start to choose ourselves, and still until we start to project different things. So either when we shift and we start projecting new projections, then either that person that we were with will show up differently, which it can happen, or they leave and somebody else comes in. So it's incredible how powerful we are with our own thoughts, because really, well, our thoughts are what creates our reality. We're creating it every moment. We can never, ever be a victim, ever. We are completely creating our reality. Even coming into this life in birth, we choose our parents. People can argue with me on that one. That's a whole nother video. But what I'm saying is the way out of this kind of suffering is to start choosing yourself. And in my case, I have worked with energy healers. I have also trained as an energy healer and a life coach and spiritual coach and intuitive reader. So what I do now is I'm a much more open channel in helping people to overcome these painful situations in relationships, overcome any kind of limitations when it comes to manifesting anything that you want, whether it's a relationship or more money or better health. In my case, with this kind of trauma bond that I was involved with, I actually created cancer to make it even more fun. So that's what happens when we try so hard, we effort so hard. And relationships don't have to be effortful. Yes, they take work, but no, they don't have to be where you're overcompensating for the lack of consistency, the lack of effort on the other person's part. So going back to what to do and how to get out of this is to choose your, and that means to write an intention. What is it that you really want? If you really want a partner, become the partner that you want to be. I know that's so cliche. Write anything that you want. It doesn't even, it could be a partner, it could be more money, it could be a better career, whatever it is. Write the intention. I allow myself to have the perfect partner. And then write all of your doubts underneath, because what are those doubts? Fears. They're just fears. And those are the subconscious thoughts that are running the show, that are creating the disarray in your love life. So as you do that, then you start to let go of limiting thoughts and beliefs about yourself, about love, about the world, about the partner you are with, and all that stuff. And then you won't repeat the same thing in the next relationship, but you will gain yourself back that you lost in this relationship. And that you'll have moments, and I have many, where I go, oh my God, I can't believe, how did wow, I let that one pass me by. You know what I mean? But I'm not judging myself. I'm just going, oh my God, wow. So that's part of releasing. You just keep releasing, keep clearing it, so that you won't walk into the next relationship repeating the same thing, choosing the same kind of person. And what will appear, and in my case, people appear that are much more available emotionally, that don't have the same issues, that because you change. So when you start changing, everything else out there changes. You don't have to change anybody else out there. When you are in a relationship with somebody like this, you were trying to change them. So you entered into a controlling, manipulating relationship. They may have been controlling and manipulating you, and then you were doing the same back, because you were trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with someone who never really wanted it in the first place. So it's a bitter pill to swallow. It's not easy to take, but when you can pull your big girl panties up and go, I'm going to do this, when you start choosing yourself, then you start falling in love with yourself, and not just your ego, but your higher self, and having a connection with the divine. And then everything starts to make sense. Everything, you start to heal your heart, you heal your mind, you heal everything. And then everything starts to make more sense. You get yourself back, and then everything works out. And that's if that person is supposed to come back and bring you flowers on a white horse, they will. When you have disconnected completely and you have said, okay, accept it, that you did your best, you tried, but, and if it's meant to be, it will happen. And I've seen this happen. So I don't want to give you false hope on, it may never be available. But what I'm saying is that when you're projecting, I'm choosing people that are unavailable emotionally, then that's what you're going to keep getting. Okay. But when you stop projecting that and you start choosing yourself and you start connecting to the divine and everything starts to shift, then that person can come back and completely be different. It's totally possible. Miracles can happen. I'm not saying that release to make them come back. That's also manipulation, but to do it for you. And the more you do it, the more you will be comfortable being with yourself, and you will not feel the need to be with anyone. But you will say, I would like to, out of freedom. So, the way I healed is I have been with my teacher for 10 years on learning how to release. And I do it through writing exercises. There's several ways to release, but I also do energy healing with my energy healer who helps me release through energy work. And that's what I do with my private clients, is when I'm doing a session one-on-one or in a group, I help everyone to release, first to set the intention of what they want, and then to help them to release what's in the way, consciously and unconsciously. And many limiting beliefs are from the subconscious mind. And so when you see them, it's really cool because you can feel energetically releases happen, and then you lighter, you're happier, your body feels better, you feel more relaxed, and everything starts to shift. And so that's how I did it. That's how I share with my clients how to do it. The fastest way that I have found to transform my life and to heal my heart and to heal my body. And I will do another video on my cancer journey and how the energy work, the energy healing has transformed my life emotionally and continues to do emotionally. Big chunks come off, and I can feel the difference in my body mind. It's amazing. So if you resonate with this video and you're interested in doing the healing work, and you want to book a session, everything is in the description and on the channel. I hope you like and subscribe. And stay tuned for events coming up. I have a healing night coming up June 7th. I had to reschedule it for a reason, but it's coming up. So that will be also in the description.